Now, this story, the rampant theft of cables and essential infrastructure is threatening investment, employment security, livelihoods and community safety. That's according to the Nelson Mandela Bay Business Chamber. A formal request has been sent to Cooperative Governance and Traditional Affairs Minister Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini-Zuma by the Chamber, calling for a state of disaster to protect public assets. Let's discuss this now with the Chief Operations Officer of the Nelson Mandela Bay Business Chamber, Ashwin Daya. Ashwin, good afternoon. Welcome to today. Thank you very much for joining us. Are things that bad that you believe that the country should declare a new state of disaster?
Good afternoon, Dan, and good afternoon to your viewers. Yes, Dan, I think in essence, the Nelson Mandela Bay Business Chamber is of the view that it certainly merits a serious response, and essentially the Chamber has written to the CoGTA Minister Dlamini-Zuma, requesting her to declare a state of disaster in terms of the Disaster Management Act in view of the rampant theft of copper cable as well as damage and vandalism caused to our public infrastructure, because this has now reached a stage of economic sabotage, and it's on an industrial scale, and we hence believe that if this matter is not responded to adequately, that investment will continue to be affected negatively in terms of our country's economy, job losses, community safety, and the like. So we also believe that we've met the criteria in terms of the Disaster Management Act, Dan.
Yeah, now a state of disaster, we've just been through one there because of the COVID-19 pandemic. It tends to restrict movement of people. What do you foresee this one that you are calling for? What kind of state of disaster are you asking the minister to consider?
So, look, the Chamber hasn't taken this decision lightly in terms of understanding that the country has just emerged out of a consecutive 2-year period where we've had a state of disaster being a response to the COVID-19 pandemic. However, in this instance, it is targeted. We would expect that the activity or the state of disaster would be targeting the areas and activities that are creating the current situation. We don't see it affecting public lives and public movement. Instead, it would mean a targeted effort towards law enforcement agencies to hone in on the problem, and they're also given special powers in terms of the Act. Also understanding that the state of disaster would last for a period of 3 months, and which thereafter could be extended monthly at the discretion of the minister.
Okay, any response?
We've issued a letter in November. To date, no response, sir.
So what are you going to do
next? Given the time of the year, we would hope to get a response early in the new year, and we would just continue lobbying from a Chamber perspective.
Yeah, so you'll continue to lobby. What other actions could you possibly take? Because you are a business chamber and you are highlighting the impact of the ongoing sabotage and cable theft on the economy.
So from a Nelson Mandela Bay Business Chamber perspective, we've been quite proactive. The Chamber's got a new strategic objective in place to become a much more action-oriented, activist-based organization. And in this past year, what has happened is that the Chamber has entered into a memorandum of agreement with the Nelson Mandela Bay municipality, whereby approximately 12 companies have adopted a total of 17 substations, electrical substations. So what this means is that depending on where the substations are situated, these companies would arrange for the guarding, the installation of cameras and armed response to any problems. And to date, since this initiative, which is called an Adopt a Substation program, since this initiative has been introduced, there's been no vandalism or theft of cable at these respective substations.
Okay, thank you, sir, for your time. We'll have to wait and see how the government will respond to your request and proposal. That's Chief Operations Officer of the Nelson Mandela Bay Business Chamber, Ashwin Daya.